them Cowboys! Yeah!
What's going on, guys? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. The video cam is still out for a bit. I'm almost done fixing it up. It's just some software issues. But more importantly, we have two contract extensions which occurred within the last 48 hours. Those being La'el Collins for 5 more years and Ezekiel Elliott for another 6 years. This is something that you should be excited about. We're going to go through both of these deals. Unfortunately for the Zeke deal, the details are not yet hashed out. I will put that later on a community post so you guys can see what's going on. But La'el Collins, his contract details have just been released. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go through both of these contracts, what they mean for their teams. This is going to be a much longer show, or episode, whatever you want to call it. So treat it like a podcast. Feel free to set your phone down and listen in. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So to start things off with La'el Collins. La'el Collins, he's been in the league for 4 years. It feels like a while ago since he's first entered the league with the Cowboys. He's played at right tackle for the last 2 years. And, you know, the Cowboys extended him for another 3 years a while ago. And now they gave him a long-term extension for 5 more years. So he is under contract for the next 6 years. Keep in mind that. It's not like he's, you know, it's a contract extension. It's not like he signed a brand new deal. So he is under contract for the next 6 years. And now, the new contract the contract extension terms involve 5 years, $50 million, and 35 of it is guaranteed. This will mean he will become a free agent in 2025 when he turns 32 years of age. Now, the Cowboys did do this smart because the Cowboys theoretically have him for 3 more years and then they can ditch him off to the wayside. So, view this more as a 3-year deal with 3 more team option years. Now, we can look at this and we can say, well, it's not per se a team-friendly deal because you're still paying him top money at the right tackle position and that you're investing in him. And we were having these conversations of, do we let La'el go because of the roster we have available? But I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but something really tells me behind the scenes this was done for another reason. We understand that we have great depth at the offensive line position as of what we've seen right now. You know, we added some more pieces to that. But the thing that kind of bothers me about this extension isn't the fact that La'el got extended. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a great player, because he's an average tackle to slightly above average at best. Okay? And the thing is that this extension has a couple of things that says about it that I can speculate about. I don't like to be Mr. Speculation, but for the heck of it, let's talk about this. So the first thing that I feel that I can speculate is that this deal was done in terms to keep the flexibility of the offensive line as best as it can. What do I mean by that? Well, as you know, Tyron Smith, he has been in the league for quite some time, guys. Since I believe 2011, 2010, I could be wrong, but I know he's been in the league for like almost 10 years. And while he still is young, he came into the league at 20 years old, he was drafted at 19. Listen, Playing in the NFL for that long at the left tackle position, granted he started at right tackle, puts a lot of wear and tear on your back and your body. You wonder why Tyron Smith has been getting back issues for the past couple of years. It's because when it's all about using your lower body and the back to play your position well, and the fact is that we don't know what's going to happen. He has not gotten back surgery for it. He's not really wanted to do that. And that might pose an issue. But I'm going to tell you this right here, right now. We're approaching a potential out with with Tyron Smith, where the Cowboys can save over $40 million in cap. Now, I'm not saying the Cowboys would do that, but I'm just going to go outright and say it, guys. I understand some of you might not be pleased with what I'll say here, but again, this is a speculation. If he isn't fully healthy, like let's say he misses half of the games or even 4 games, that's going to be an issue, because if your blindside tackle, your best tackle on your team, and you're paying him like that, top tackle money, is not playing, then that's going to pose an issue. If I could save $40 million to cut him and possibly add more talent all around, we'll have to do that. But then again, I will be more optimistic here and say that, listen, you have flexibility with Tyron Smith because now you have some option years in him, so that, okay, we can be more patient with him. But another thing that I kind of find interesting is you have Connor Williams, who is staying at left guard. I'm not saying we should move him around or anything, but you invested a 3rd-round pick in Connor McGovern. He's on IR, unfortunately, so I believe with a torn pectoral muscle. And what this does is it kind of shows me that I feel the Cowboys are trying to prepare for the future. And that being, okay, Tyron Smith, I feel, will be the question mark here. But there is another possibility, and I'll just go out and say it before I continue. There is a possibility Lyle becomes trade bait. Maybe they give him this long-term extension so that, you know, he becomes a trade bait piece, and maybe we don't have to worry about him ever again. But if let's say Tyron Smith is to be released, like we just feel like he's not worth that money anymore. Well, you can think about it. You can swap Connor Williams to the left tackle position. You can put Connor McGovern at left guard. And though in the line, everyone else is signed until 2023, 2022. And even now, the whole line is signed till 2022, 2023. And I think that this could be, and we're going to transition into Ezekiel Elliott here into a second. Maybe it's just, and maybe I'm just overlooking it with all the speculation talk, even though I still feel there's a bit to it more than just a contract extension. But maybe it's just to ensure that Ezekiel Elliott has as much longevity with the prime of his career as he can. And maybe that's the end of it. So, with that being said, let's transfer over to Ezekiel Elliott, ladies and gentlemen. He has re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys, as we mentioned before. He signed earlier this morning 6 more years for $90 million. 50 of it is guaranteed. He is now under contract for 8 more years, ladies and gentlemen. 6 more years, 8 years in total. That means that Ezekiel Elliott will become an unrestricted free agent in 2027, which will put him at age 32. I wholeheartedly believe at this point in juncture that Ezekiel Elliott will be a Cowboy for the rest of his career. Depending on how Zeke does in terms of his longevity, let's just say he retires at age 34. I think that the Cowboys will restructure and move around the deal to ensure that Zeke remains a Cowboy for the rest of his career. Now, with that being said, there are no details yet. But what does this mean? Well, if we now look at it in totality, we have currently signed, and excluding Lyle, we bring up Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith is now under contract. Now we have Ezekiel Elliott under contract. The last remaining starter that I feel needs a good long-term extension is Dak Prescott. And I know that we're not going to talk about him a whole lot, but I'm just going to say this right here. Listen, man, that 2016 draft class has now solidified itself as one of the best drafts in Cowboys history, arguably. I would argue it's most possibly the best. But one of the best in NFL history. Because not only did you get a generational running back in Ezekiel Elliott, not only did you get a possible generational linebacker, again possible, in Jalen Smith, you also got a franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott. And if he re-signs, I'm telling you, man, this team will, and assuming that they can keep the young nucleus together as they keep re-signing players, this team is going to be competitive for a long time. And I wholeheartedly mean that. So, with Zeke getting his share of the pie, I think that was a smart move. Look, this is how I feel with the whole Zeke contract extension. I understand that I've mentioned, well, if Zeke doesn't play some games, maybe we win games without him, maybe we contemplate moving on from him. But I will tell you this. From the get-go, I have said we need to pay this man. I was only merely speculating because I know I mentioned a couple things here and there, and I just wanted to clarify my comments. So, with all that being said, I am happy for both of these individuals. I'm happy for Zeke. I'm happy for Lyle for getting these deals done. And with that, I think that the Cowboys Super Bowl window, and I know I'm throwing that word out there, but it's the truth, has now opened up and has extended for a while. I would say this year is the best chance, but depending on how the Cowboys tool their roster from here on out, I think that the Cowboys have maintained themselves as a solid contender for probably the next 4 years. But then again, things can change, so knock on wood. So what does Zeke's contract make him? $15 million as an average salary. The $50 million guaranteed is the most by any running back in NFL history. Now, I'm glad that this is over. I'm glad that we can finally look forward to the Giants playing with Ezekiel Elliott and us finally getting this team together and ready to hit the ground running week 1. I want to ensure that we get all these other deals done. And there's still plenty of pie left, ladies and gentlemen. We have $20 million in cap space after the Zeke signing, which can definitely be allocated to Amari Cooper. I think what I would do, and people might think I'm crazy for that, I think that I would argue you want to get Dak done. I say you pay Amari now, let Dak play throughout the season, extend him during the season if you can. If not, fine. Let him play out his rookie deal and give him what he wants if he leads the Cowboys to a championship. The Cowboys can afford to do it. They could still re-sign Byron Jones and some of these other key contributors. But I think that once they get this core locked down, they will be able to retool the roster. And I think that that's something we haven't been able to say about the Dallas Cowboys. They've drafted so well, they've finally been able to be in a position to where they can just add a couple key pieces in free agency and they can automatically be thrusted into that contending status. And I mean that. That's no delusion from me being a Cowboys fan or anything. No, the fact that the Cowboys have established their young core now and have so they've re-signed the franchise running back till possibly the end of his career. They've re-signed the entire offensive line or have them under contract for their foreseeable primes. The defensive line superstar in Tank Lawrence, he's re-signed. You re-signed your key linebacker in Jalen Smith. At this point, we're just looking at Byron Jones and saying, okay, is this dude worth it? And if he is, and if we can by some miracle keep Chris Richard here, hell yeah, you re-sign Byron Jones if he does show out and has another Pro Bowl caliber season. And guess what? Now, if you have playmakers on all parts of your team and that's your core, all you got to do is draft replacement parts for those that leave. Then, all you got to do is bring in solid key talent. And I think that the Cowboys are now in a prime position to do that. So, I greatly appreciate you guys taking the time for listening in to this longer iteration of my videos. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified when I go live or when I post a new video. So with that being said, guys, I will be seeing you guys later for my post-game reactions to Week 1 versus the Giants. Alrighty, guys. Peace out. Bye-bye.